Do you like your high school?
Not at all.
It's pretty cool. Learn a lot.
Oh God, it's cool.
Yeah, it's all right.
I like it. It's pretty good.
Not at all. The teachers are violent. They teach us nothing. They just yell at us all day.
There's a lot of girls on my squad, and I can't keep off from it. And they start talking to me. Look at me. I look good.
Switch everything around. I want to be the principal. They can be the students.
I want to go to college. I don't know what I want to be. No, you gotta keep bigger for the world.
Got it.
The Charles School is a regular high school, just like any other one, other than the fact that we also go to college and we also stay for 5 years. Most high schools end with 12th grade and we end with grade 13. Our students come in the 9th grade and they stay for 5 years, and at the end hopefully we'll have about 2 years worth of college and a high school diploma. The first 3 years our kids spend getting done and through the high school curriculum, and then about mid-11th grade they start to take one college class and then 2 and then 3, and the classes at some point give you college credit and high school credit as well, so you start moving very quickly through that senior year.
I know you.
Schools that are in the better neighborhoods attract the teachers, and the teachers have a better time, and then so it's a self-fulfilling cycle. And the teachers that go to the poor schools probably has a higher turnover rate, and it's a cycle going the other way.
The concern is that it's self-perpetuating. If I am in a low-income environment which doesn't provide educational opportunities to my children and the other children in the geographic areas served by that community, and if the students get a sense of that the boundaries of their world are 2 square miles of lack of access, that's what has to change. So I think that's one of the beauties of technology. You can bring diversity, you can bring difference into any classroom that can help address that problem. Over and over and over again I come back to, in my opinion, it's our ability to instill in a student the belief that education is valuable for its own sake, for the opportunities it presents that student when they get through to the next level of education. That, I don't think it's an overly simplistic answer, but I do think, and I think it's really, really, really hard to do, but that's what makes a difference in terms of who does and doesn't succeed as a student. And if that can be instilled in low socioeconomic schools, they can, and it's been demonstrated over and over again, catapult above high SES schools.
Well, I certainly think that conservatives in this country, if they wanted to really think about the future, they would. I think schools need to be untethered from property taxes. I think children are our future. We need to have them educated. The idea that schools are attached to property taxes, so therefore poor neighbors have poor schools, to me is just un-American, and that's just wrong. Wrong.
One thing I think works is having a staff of people that are passionate about the kids that they work with. If you don't have that, you're off to a bad start to the beginning. That's the foundation level there. A well-prepared, well-educated staff that is flexible and willing to think outside of the box. That's what we need. I think sometimes schools get stuck in the machinery of education, and it's hard to stop and turn things around or change.
Is the square root of 6 minus the square root of 2 all over 4. But just to verify that, use your calculators please. Put this into your calculator and verify that this is in fact approximately equal to 2.259. Right? So
I think that all schools attract the same number of passionate, committed teachers. I think that the frustrations and the disappointments that exist when teaching is particularly hard, if if as a young teacher you haven't mastered the art of discipline. And I think that burns teachers out. More than half don't last 5 years in response to the challenges of teaching. In the history of education, there are two basic schools. The University of Paris, the teacher would lead the students through the streets of Paris and point out everything going on and try and make everything connected to the life of the students. And the alternate is Oxford in England, a big square, and everybody comes into this space and it's quiet and it's contained and it's focused. I think that students should be able to select which of those two environments helps them learn the most.
You have to give them a reason for coming. They have to feel that they're a part of the experience of being in school.
Seeing a future, having a sense that there is a future.
The arts, through music, through sports.
Going to the museum, going to the state capitol, going to another city and watching a play.
Helping, giving them a job in school.
I think going to the courthouse, I think attending meetings, I think role modeling, I think attending different aspects of the community.
If there was extra money like work-study kind of things, you know, for high school kids.
Food fairs or just different things that are just like a part of adult life, or some things that are fun, some things that are educational.
A reason to come to the building.
We can't continue to isolate the school environment from the lived environment. We've turned it around. I think too many times the school feels as if it's the center of the student's life, and all these students are little orbs that revolve around the teacher or the school. And of course what the student is thinking is, I'm the center of the universe and the school is just one of the things that's part of my life. And I think that's right. I think it should be a learner-centered experience, not a teacher-centered experience.
There's research that says that kids that go to extracurricular activities that are more fully engaged in school. There's research that for high school, and there's research that shows that kids that are that participate in extracurricular activities are more likely to go to college. So yes, when in a situation like this where there's a budget crisis and we're decreasing things like music, and decreasing things like art, I do see that as a bad thing, because we're basically helping disengage kids for continuing their education, and where this particularly impacts is black males. Black males that are disengaged are less likely to stay in school, and there's research that shows particularly, and in the state I know it's a particular problem. So for all kinds of kids, but certainly those that are more at risk, extracurriculars are very important. What the social scientists, the researchers and theorists are basically saying is that if black males are more motivated by if they're engaged in the community. This has to do with college and in high school, but especially if they're engaged and they can see that they're participating in something that makes sense, then they're much more likely to stay. If they're disengaged and they don't see their part to play, they're more likely to drop out.
One of the things that we have discovered, and it's a tragedy at this point, 75% of African American children are raised in a single parent home. And in most cases, that single parent is the mom. We've got a number of African American boys who are wounded emotionally, hurt, angry, and not having the things that they need are equipped to the point where they can do well in school or in life. And they start to drop out into sometimes illegal activities where you can make a fast buck or quick money, which in turn turns them into a life of crime. And we got the statistic now where 4 out of 5 African American males are associated with the legal system at some point. A school can actively seek positive African American role models as teachers, as people in the building, so that these guys have someone they can talk to and look up to and say, okay, I can be like that. You know, this is something I would like to be. Independent
of socioeconomic status, I think the number of students who carry a cell phone is in the neighborhood of 95%. So there are these tools which are used effortlessly in personal lives and in out-of-school life. We need to find ways, policies, the other thing, we need to find ways to take these tools, the connections to what matters in the student's life, and to use them in this more abstract, problem-based environment that we call education. And that bridging is another terrific way to extend educational learning opportunities with unlimited resources.
Mobile devices are very important, and they should be used in school. And I'm not really sure how, and I don't know if it's some of the content will be, or you can certainly use them as clickers. You know what clickers? At school they just call them clickers. Like, so you're teaching a lesson and you want to figure out, okay, does everyone understand who Ernest Hemingway was? And then you can say yes or no, and then the teacher can be like, oh, 2/3 of these kids don't know who Ernest Hemingway are, so I got to slow down on this part. So that's use it as a clicker, or anytime, anywhere learning is a catchphrase now. So maybe, okay, so maybe calculus, right? Maybe calculus at your school and a calculus at a school a couple blocks that way could be linked up twice a week. I don't know, that might be an idea. Maybe there'd be social networks at night, like study groups that would be cross schools. Maybe something like that would work. Keep distribute the knowledge that way.
In my view, technology is a double-edged sword. It can do unimaginable things. It can take students to the craters of volcanoes in Hawaii, and it can take them to the Antarctica, and it can also be a wasteland in which one wastes time. And it's important that we find ways to extend educational opportunity to everybody, because it's the most important gift that I think we can give. It is the way out of whatever you're dealing with, the challenges you have. The more you know, the more people you know that know, the more belief that you have that things can change for the better based on all this world knowledge. More power to you. That's terrific.
Men don't know it, but men are very, very important in children's lives. And for most African American teenage boys, that man is very rarely in their lives or absent.
The other thing that we should do is that if teachers have student loans, they should be able to be forgiven. And I think that would increase the number of people going into those fields, because we need teachers. We need good teachers.
If you want to find out about a teacher, say, what do you teach? And in my opinion, the wrong answer is, I teach communication. I teach physics. I think the right answer is, I teach students.